Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Shay with Curate Soul, and happy 2023. So, this is my newsletter for January. I hope that everyone had a beautiful and joyous holiday season and that you are taking time to rest right now. We are in the season of winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and so this is the season of wintering not only in nature outside of us, but our nature inside of us as well. So, turning inward, slowing things down a little bit, reflecting, and then beginning to move forward. And so often, as we move into the new year from the Gregorian standpoint, so when we transition from the holidays in December and then move into January, there's this tendency to feel like we need to have a jump start, to begin to move really fast, to dig in and to begin to shift and maybe make changes. Some of us may make New Year's resolutions. Some of us may set intentions. And this year, you may have noticed a bit of a sticky or stagnant feeling, or maybe a lack of desire to create those intentions or resolutions, or just jump into something. And so that's okay. Honor that. There's various reasons for that. The current astrology is one of those, but also mostly just the winter season is not the time of new beginnings. It's actually the time that things are dormant in nature. And so, learning to allow ourselves to be still and to reflect and to get ready for the spring that will always come. And at that point, we can begin to move a little more and to plan new things and to be a little more active. But right now, if you're not feeling that energy, that's okay. Lean into that restful state. And just when you begin to feel that desire to move more, to do more, to kind of come back out and bloom, then listen to that. There is no hurry. There's absolutely no rush. Um, a lot of these kind of markers of New Year's or transitional periods are actually ones that we as humans have put on things. So, if anything, I would say tune into nature, what's happening in nature right now, and allow that to be your guide. With that being said, I am moving into a new bhavana, a new energy this year as I'm offering public classes and working with private clients. And so I wanted to just kind of begin that exploration of the bhavana. And last year I did a different bhavana for each month. This year I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm taking kind of an umbrella bhavana and then breaking that down into four different segments that will span, each segment will span about a 3 month period. So we're working kind of in quarters here. And our bhavana this year is based on what are called in Sanskrit the puruṣārthas. And so when we break down the word puruṣārtha, purusha is part of that word, and purusha means um, spirit or soul. And the second half of the word, artha, means either purpose or object of desire or meaning. And so a puruṣārtha is the purpose of the soul. And in the Vedas say that each soul has four distinct desires. So, no matter where we come from, what our individual makeup is, we all have the same four desires. And if you think about all of our actions, all the choices that we make, the things that we do, what we say, what we think, it is in hopes that we achieve happiness. It's this desire to be happy. And so the Vedas and the Vedic texts realize this. And they've gone even further to kind of break this down into these four different aims or desires. What is it that the soul is longing for? And it's those things, those desires that create our happiness. And when I say happiness, I don't mean the fleeting happiness that happens when uh, we are able to experience something that's pleasurable and then it may go away. And so we keep searching for that pleasure over and over. But happiness on a deeper level, our true nature, that place within us that's unchanging, that sort of happiness. And so the umbrella bhavana this year is the puruṣārthas. And then each quarter, every 3 months, we're going to work with a different one. And so for our first one is dharma. And we're going to spend the next several months working with dharma. Before I move on into kind of a description or a definition of dharma, which is very vast, by the way, let me go back to a quote by Rod Stryker, my teacher's teacher. He says in his book, The Four Desires, when yoga is understood in its totality, it is a practice and comprehensive science for realizing life's ultimate aims. So he's speaking to those four aims, the puruṣārthas. Um, Again, all of our actions, all of our thoughts, our words, our deeds, they are in hopes that we are moving towards happiness, that we are satisfying these desires within that help us move towards that happiness. So these desires, they're present and fluid. We actually can move through many of them, each of them in a day. Sometimes we're kind of very focused in one particular area, while other times we can have different desires that we're trying to meet come up. And so we're here to kind of learn and honor these desires. And doing that allows us to thrive at every level. And again, these are desires of the soul, not that kind of surface level desire where we're kind of going for that quick rush of endorphins or pleasure, but what truly makes us happy and helps us to remember our divine nature, that place within us that's unchanging, our purpose here. And so that leads me to the very first desire, dharma. And this desire kind of it dictates the rest. So the other three desires, which are artha, kama, and moksha. And I won't speak to those today because I really want to focus on dharma and kind of give you this opening into this particular desire or aim that we'll be working with over the next approximately 12 weeks. So dharma is defined in many, many different ways. And so one of those ways is the desire to become who you are meant to be. It's the desire to fulfill your destiny. And so you may have at one time in your life or many times in your life experienced this deep desire to understand or to know your purpose here. Maybe on an individual level. What is it that you are here to do? How are you here to affect the world around you? You may have also considered your purpose as part of the community or as a human being. What is the purpose of human life? And so we can look at various layers of dharma on an individual level as well as a community level and then a universal level. Dharma is our longing to thrive and in the process fulfill our unique purpose. And so it is an individual purpose that we're searching for. These desires are ever present, once again, fluid, but understanding that this urge to know our purpose is what we think will make us happy and create that happiness. So when we're moving with purpose, we are moving in a way that fulfills our soul on a deeper level than just those kind of surface level pleasures that we often experience through the senses, the five senses. So again, dharma is the one that we are working with right now. And we'll begin to move into the para atman and the jiva atman. So this is part of dharma as well. And so what do paramatman and jiva atman mean? So para means supreme or highest. Atman means soul or essence. Can also mean the highest principle. So this idea of self with a big S. And jiva means individual soul. So jiva is our spiritual thumbprint. So it's unique like a fingerprint, a thumbprint can be, but it is part of a whole. So part of the hand, part of the body. It is part of that um, para atman. The Vedas explain that the soul has two aspects. It's complete, whole, and eternal in a permanent state of oneness with the absolute or consciousness. And at the same time, it desires to fully express itself and its divine nature. So again, it has an individual purpose. The Atman, the soul, has an individual purpose, but also that upholding that individual purpose is also what upholds the dharma, the purpose of the universal purpose. And so when we are in alignment with our individual purpose, the jiva atman, we are also in alignment with the universal purpose, the universal dharma and para atman. So each of us comes into this world with a specific person, or excuse me, specific purpose, and we're compelled to fulfill that. Ayurveda recognizes this as well, and I'll begin to speak a little more to this next month. When we look at our Ayurvedic blueprint, we begin to see that we come into this life with this particular combination of elements and energetics and qualities so that we are able to fulfill our purpose. We also have these particular challenges that help us fulfill our purpose or remind us of our dharma. And so again, I'll speak to that a little more next month, but just to give you kind of an idea of how we'll be connecting this throughout the next 12 weeks. Sometimes dharma is associated with our profession or work, and it certainly can be, remembering that dharma is very vast, lots of different definitions to it. I'll dive deeper into this next month as well as we begin to explore a little more of the meaning behind dharma. But purpose is not just your career or your profession. It's more than that. Again, it's what upholds this universal movement, universal dharma and purpose as well. And again, it certainly can relate. You may work in a profession that is related to your dharma, but you also may work in a profession that's not related to your dharma. So it's again, this idea of serving the universe is when we are walking in our dharma, when we are walking in our purpose, we're serving the universe. And sometimes our profession does that, sometimes it does not. So we can just take this opportunity to reflect on that and how we may be upholding our dharma or how we may be creating some tension with our dharma. So some of the other translations of dharma are righteousness, alignment with nature, what upholds, cosmic order, set of principles, duty, natural law, ethical order, rightness, and responsibility. So again, this also really connects with Ayurvedic thought in that when we are living in alignment with our natural rhythms and cycles, in alignment with nature, which we are not separate from, we are upholding dharma. And when we are not living in alignment, when we're fighting these cycles or living in a way that's against these natural rhythms, we are not upholding dharma. We're not upholding that alignment with nature. We're not upholding cosmic order. We're fighting against it. We're saying that we're separate from that, that we may be superior to that, that we don't have to honor that, and that we can go about doing whatever we like. And what happens there is then when we're kind of fighting against our nature or cosmic order, we create tension, we create illness or disease. And then we create not only within the individual self, but also this tension is then created in maybe the community around us, as well as the universal dharma. We're somehow, um, again, creating this tension and not upholding what is right or natural or our responsibility. Just like there is the para atman and the jiva atman, the individual soul, as well as the absolute, there is also svadharma, which is our individual duty. We're upholding our individual duty. And then there is samanya dharma, which is universal order. So dharma can be broken down again into two different aspects. And then I would say that community dharma as well. And that can be a combination of individual and universal dharma. How are we supporting the community around us? What is the dharma of the community we're a part of this collective here, locally, regionally, and then universally? So that expands. We're all interconnected. And so remembering that interconnectedness and how our thoughts, our words, and our actions are upholding the alignment with nature or purpose or set of principles. Remember, I mentioned that Dharma can be quite vast and expansive. And so Dharma can also depend on circumstances. What one person considers righteous, it may be a very broad view. Somebody else may have a more narrow view of righteousness. And so this is where we begin to look into individual Dharma as well as universal Dharma, that thumbprint, and then how we begin to work with that in our lives, especially when we feel that that may cause tension between people, between ideas, between communities, and then really just soul searching for how we can uphold the universal Dharma here. So, looking at the word Dharma, the root of the word Dharma is dri, which means to support up or to uphold. So, as you hear in many of the translations of the word Dharma, there's certainly a sense of support or upholding that happens. So I'll leave it here for today. That's quite a bit to kind of digest. You may want to go back and listen to this a few times and just see what gems may jump out at you to hold on to and to explore. But I will leave you with maybe some encouragement to reflect on those moments in your life when you've contemplated your purpose here. Maybe that pops up often for you. Maybe you're still searching. Maybe you know exactly what your dharma and your purpose is here in this lifetime. And it's okay if you don't know. Just continue to remain open to anything that you're receiving that helps you walk that path of discovery. And then also begin maybe to explore how your actions, your thoughts, and your words are driven by desires. And what sort of desire or desires do you experience? Are you searching for kind of that short term pleasure, that really quick and easy to access fulfillment? Or are your actions and thoughts and words helping you come to a state of inner happiness where your happiness is not dependent on these external factors, that you can remember that your natural state is joy and happiness, and that you don't have to be or do anything to receive a state of happiness, that you're already worthy enough, and that you came into this world joyful and happy. And so, again, I just leave you maybe with those questions to contemplate. And then also wanted to just let you know that my books are open once again for Ayurvedic consultations as well as conscious living sessions. So if you are interested in working one-on-one with me, maybe to discover your Ayurvedic blueprint, or maybe to dive deeper into Ayurveda, Yoga Nidra, your yoga teaching or your yoga practice, let me know. I'd love to speak with you and see if we're a good fit to work together and just to help you deepen your exploration on your path, which is part of your dharma. So you can definitely shoot me an email, a message on Instagram, and then I'll get back to you. We can set up a time to chat. And you don't have to be local to Savannah. I do work virtually as well, so we can set up Zoom meetings to work together. And then also we have some workshops coming up starting in possibly February, so next month, but certainly in March. The first one that we have on the books, and both of these are at New Yoga Now in Savannah. The first one is March 11th, which is a Saturday from 1 until 3. And this is an Ayurvedic blueprint workshop. So during this workshop, you will learn 5 element theory and the 3 doshas and how this applies to your unique Ayurvedic blueprint. So you'll learn more about your inherent strengths and challenges and how that supports you in following your dharma in life. I'll also be offering some accessible practices and rituals that will help you transition into spring. Since March, we're beginning to begin that movement into spring. The next one in March is March the 24th, which is a Friday, and it's going to be from 6 until 7 p.m. And I am co hosting with my lovely friend Trina. And this workshop is called Coming Home to Yourself. During this workshop, we'll be doing some movement to shamanic drumming. So, Trina will be offering drumming. She is a beautiful healer, potent healer that has worked with me for several years and many others here in Savannah. And I can't say enough good about her and how she just helps you reconnect with that part of yourself that inherently knows how to create healing and wellness and vitality in the body. And so she's um, offering her services and co-creating with me, and I'm super excited. So movement, shamanic drumming, this will then lead us into a deep relaxation practice in which Trina will offer some Reiki and some shamanic soul extraction. And so this is already available to register for. You can find this on the New Yoga Now website. I'll put it in my newsletter. And then my website as well will have a registration link within the next few days. So I hope that you can join us for one or both of those, especially if you're local in Savannah. And stay tuned. I am looking to host another Yoga Nidra workshop at New Yoga Now. And then Sarah and I are meeting next week to plan our spring equinox gathering. So we're keeping that on the books for 2023. We are looking to move that into an in-person offering as well as virtually. So stay tuned. Sign up for the newsletter if you're not already signed up. Share with your friends if you think that they may be interested in any of the events that I'm hosting or co-hosting. And reach out. I'd love to hear how your holiday went, how you're moving into 2023, and anything that I spoke to today about Dharma or the 4 desires in life kind of jumped out and spoke to you. So thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.